Good evening, distinguished ladies and gentlemen. My name is Ben Osi Oko. Welcome to Inside the Arena Season 2. Before I introduce our guest for today, let me quickly read out the rules for this program. We have 3 segments of this program. The first is what we call the direct free kick. Direct free kick questions will be thrown to the guest, the special guest, by the host. We ask him a series of questions and he will respond to the questions. The second segment of it is what we call the corner kick. The corner kick, we are going to allow the participants to ask questions. The questions will be directed to the guest and he will answer. We also have a rule for that. And then the third segment of it is what we call the extra time. That's the prize giving time. A question will be asked, and the fastest finger, the first person to post the question in the chat box. When you look down at if you're using a phone or your laptop, in the icons below, you will see where you have chat. So the first person to post the correct answer is very transparent. Once you post the correct answer and the guest confirms that that is the correct answer, the person that posts the first correct answer automatically wins the prize. And then after that, we wrap up the program. And for today, we have as our prize a brand new laptop. A brand new laptop, you can see it here, not yet opened, courtesy of our special guest for today. So a lucky winner is going to go home with this brand new laptop. There are also other rules which I will like to spell out. The host can declare any question that is considered out of context as offside. If you ask any question when it is time for the participants to ask questions and a participant asks a question that is considered to have gone out of context, we declare that as offside. And once that is done, the guest will be excused from answering that question. And also, any participant that displays any kind of misconduct will be given a yellow card. If a participant receives a yellow card twice, the participant will be given a red card. And when you are given a red card, you can no longer participate in the game, and also which disqualifies you from participating in the competition. Then any serious infringement will also be considered as a red card offense, and that's a straight red card. You don't need to be given a yellow card for that. So that is the ground rules for today's event. Ladies and gentlemen, it's my pleasure to officially introduce our guest for today. He is a very distinguished engineer, an executive director in Niger Delta Power Holding Company Limited. Our very distinguished engineer, Ifeoluwa Oyedele, fellow of the Nigerian Society of Engineers. You're welcome, sir.
Thank you very much, Ben.
You're welcome to Inside the Arena. Luckily, you are the second person to be our special guest for this event. The first was the president of the Council for the Regulation of Engineering in Nigeria, Engineer Ali Masuya Rabiu, fellow of the Nigerian Society of Engineers. He was our guest at the inaugural edition. And today we are having you as our second guest. Straight, we go to the questions. Ifeoluwa Olushola Oyedele, who is he?
Thank you, Ben, for this opportunity that you have given me to be the guest on this program. As you rightly said, my name is Ifeoluwa Olushola Oyedele. I was born to Chief Matthew Olakunle Oyedele, now late MB, and Mrs. C.I. Oyedele, a retired school teacher. I attended 7 different primary schools because my mother was a teacher and she was transferred from one place to the other. I went to a primary school called LA Primary School, LA Local Authority then, Local Authority Primary School, DIA, Local Authority Primary School, Akotogbo. Akotogbo used to be in the riverine area. You go by speedboat to Irele, and then you travel by land from Irele to Ajagba, and then we walk all the way through to Akotogbo. I remember that was in 1965. I was only 7 years old, and most of the journey I will be backed by somebody. It was very tedious, and some of the time I will walk. When it's rainy, they will have to back me so that we'll be faster. I went to St. Andrew's College Demonstration School, Oyo. I went to Ebenezer African Church Primary School, Okeado Ibadan, twice, in primary 4 and in primary 6. And then I went to Government College Ibadan, the prestigious Government College Ibadan. After that, I went to the Polytechnic Ibadan. I spent 1 year there before I gained admission to University of Ife. I left Ife and went to University of Lagos, where I graduated as an engineer. And of course, I served in Ibadan with DAFEC consultants. I worked thereafter in the Ministry of Works and Transport, then the Office of the Governor, of the Military Governor then, Rural Education Unit, and then the Directorate of the Rural Development, before I was employed as a sales engineer with Diana Power Nigeria Limited. Thereafter, at Muni Engineering Systems, they were manufacturers of low voltage panels in those days. After that, I worked with Gambio Builders and then with Rickmore International as executive director and chief operating officers in both organizations after the other. In 1992, I joined a group of friends to establish Matcom Limited. And in 2016, the president and commander-in-chief appointed me as executive director, engineering and technical services in Niger Delta Power Holding Company Limited. The rest, as they say, is story. I'm also a politician. I call myself an engineer in politics. I used to be a member of the board of trustees of the Congress for Progressive Change, and I've served in various capacities in that in that former political party. Thereafter, I became a member of the APC Merger Committee, and we were one of the architects of the All Progressive Congress, where I had the opportunity to have designed the logo of APC that we all carry around today. I have been several things, occupied several committee positions in APC. Here I am today. I think I've said enough.
That's interesting. Let me ask you, are you more of your father or your mother? And can you tell me how many were you in your family?
My father had 12 children. 2 of them are late today. But I think that I'm more like my father. A lot of people, even till today, when they hear my voice, they think it's my father that is speaking. And when they look at me, the only difference I see, which I'm not sure whether many people see, because my father died about 27 years ago, is the fact that my father was lighter in complexion than I am today. My father was like an Oyibo man. In actual fact, there is a story that when the white people, as we call them, first got to our village and saw my father, they thought he was a an expatriate child kidnapped or brought to that area many years ago. My father died in the year 1994, November 4th, precisely, at the age of 95. So you can imagine what time I'm talking about. But I think I look more like my father.
If I may ask you, who is your role model, and what inspires or motivates you?
Well, I think my role model is Jesus Christ. I think my role model, as per role models, I also have athlete role models, different people that I choose as my role model in different areas of life. For instance, if you dress well, you'll be my role model in dressing. I don't want to go into details, but for instance, somebody, when I was growing up, when I started work as an engineer, as a pupil engineer, I used to think before then that I was humble. But when I met Major General Oladayo Popola, I learned who was then the governor of the military governor of Oyo State, and who has remained my friend since 1984. I learned what it is to be humble. So yes, I have different role models. If you write very well, if you have, I choose you as my role model in that field, and that's the way my life has been crafted.
Okay. Now, if I may ask, what are the three most important things in your life?
Oh, okay. Love, integrity, and truth. Maybe.
Love, integrity,
not in anybody. And truth.
What attracts you to people?
I think, first of all, your conduct, your character, the way you comport yourself when I first see you, and the words that come out of your mouth will attract me to you if I meet you,
What kind of music do you
that's a tall one. But my favorite music, always, of all times, is Dolly Parton. And I'm sure that some of my wife and my children who are listening to this will be smiling now. Dolly Parton. But I listen and I love so many music. If you have the misfortune to ride in my car with me, you will listen to either Ebenezer Obey or Sonny Ade or Anyela Omowura, and maybe Dolly Parton too. I will bombard you. If you travel with me for hours, you will listen to all of this music, and I will trouble you with explaining what they are saying. I love a lot of other music, but these are the ones that usually come to my mind first and foremost.
We shall come back to Dolly Parton in the course of this program, because I'm going to ask you another question about her and her music. Then I ask you, what is the bravest thing you have done?
I think the bravest thing I've done is going into politics.
Going into politics?
Politics, yes. When many times in the past, people don't think I could go into politics because they think I'm too straightforward and too, what's that word that they used to call me? Too blunt to be a politician. But I will leave people to judge my performance in politics and what I have been able to do. But a lot of people who knew me will never have put their top ends on me to imagine that I will ever be a politician.
Is there anything that you cannot do without?
I think the only thing I cannot do without is the Almighty God, my relationship with God. I don't think there's anything in this world. I can do without clothes, I can do without money, I can do without just anything except my God.
Fantastic. Then I asked, you like Nigerian dish? What's your best Nigerian dish?
My best
meal?
Nigerian dish is pupuru with what we call black soup. And I know that a lot of people watching me won't even know what pupuru is. But I have a friend, and the executive director of my foundation, Professor who is my very good friend, who won a scholarship to go to the US. And she went with all of the samples of Nigerian foods and got them tested. And interestingly, it was pupuru that came out to be the best food in Nigeria. You know, of all the food that we eat in Nigeria, less acidic, less this, less that. I don't know the scientific details, but that was rated the best food. It is made from cassava. It is especially from the Kale people of Nigeria. We take cassava, we soak it in water, we remove the stalk. I think then after the third day, you drain the water from it, and then you mound it together, and you put it on top of the fireplace to dry it. And when you're ready to make it, you peel the back, you sieve it, and then you pound it, you sieve it, and then you make it like you make amala and then we pound it again. These days there are improvements; they have turned it into powder, and you just put it on fire and make it like amala. But I think I love it. Maybe with pounded yam and vegetable. Those are my best meal. But of course, I eat any food that is sweet.
I have not tested that before. I think you have to give me an invitation any day you prepare it so that I can come and have a test of that. Now, let me go to the next question. Is there anything you are not good at doing?
Oh, there's no human being that is perfect. And there must be so many things I cannot do. But I try to excel in everything that I do. I try to do everything very well. But more than anything, I try to learn. If you ask me to do something, I'll ask questions and make sure that I get the procedure right before I embark on it. That makes people my wife and my children to jokingly say I'm OCD. No, I'm not. I just don't, I'm not afraid to learn how to do things, to ask questions, and to try and do it better than you do it.
Okay, what do you do at your free time?
In the last few years, I don't think I have too much of free time anymore. But because reading is no longer a free thing for me to do. But I love to play golf. I'm a sportsman. I love to play golf. When I was in school, I used to play all kinds of sports: athletics, football, hockey, cricket. But these days, I only play golf. I listen to music. I listen to music almost around the clock. I play indoor games like Ludo, and then I read a bit. I read a bit these days. But yes, those are the things I like to do.
If I may ask you, what is the best piece of advice you have received?
My father used to say virtually every morning, beauty fades, riches take to their wings and fly away. But the one and only lasting quality of a man is his character. I think that is the best advice I've received in all of my life.
Beauty fades.
Riches
takes we fly
take
away
to their
like
wings. Yes, riches take to their wings and fly away. But the one and only lasting quality of a man is his character.
Wow, that is awesome. And what is the nicest gift you have received, and the nicest thing that someone has done for you?
I have been a beneficiary of love from so many people, and I honestly don't rate gifts in terms of how expensive they are. So I think every gift that I've been given, and if I receive a gift, I find it very difficult to give it out. The smallest of gifts is probably the nicest gift I have received. And I think the nicest thing that anyone has done for me is those people who is to testify of who they think I am. I like I said, I'm the recipient of so many niceties. So it's difficult for me to classify a particular one, but I'm just a very lucky human being.
How do you connect with God? How do you connect with God?
I think I live with Him. I don't find it difficult to. I live and my life and my being is in Him. I don't think incidentally, a young man, not a young, particularly young man, came to me this morning, and I was trying to explain to him how close God is to you. God is next door to you. I mean, I talk to God as if I'm talking to my father. Sometimes I sit him down on my bed and talk to him. So it's very easy for me to connect with God. I cry in His presence all of the time, and I make known the desires of my heart to Him. Sometimes I take Him for granted too, because I consider that He's very close to me.
All right. Now, you are an electrical engineer. At what point did you decide to study engineering? Who inspired you, or what inspired you? And again, what else would you have studied if not electrical engineering?
Okay, let me say this. If I had not studied engineering, I would have loved to be a soldier, because I love the discipline in the military. But I don't know who inspired me. I don't know who inspired me. I didn't have an engineer in my family. But I think from a very young age, I used to dismantle my mother's clock and radio and everything in sight. Just anything and everything in sight. I would dismantle them and I'll not be able to put them together anymore. So I'm not sure anybody. I think the desire to be an engineer was from what I now know to be the Holy Spirit. But why electrical engineering? I went to University of Ife to study civil engineering in my mind. And when I got there, I was admitted. I had spent 1 year in the Polytechnic Ibadan. And because of my result, because of in those days you do individual exams into the universities, I was shocked that I didn't gain admission into any of the university. Maybe I didn't know, because in those days, letters takes forever to get to you. But when eventually the following year I did the entrance examination to the university again, and I saw my name in the Tribune, and it was not for engineering, it was for physics. So I didn't want to go. I wanted to complete my HSC and then go straight to the university, because I was so sure that I will make HSC very well. But I went to University of Ife, and I call it University of Ife, what you now call Bafemi Awolowo University. And I was told that, and I asked questions, how can I cross over to study engineering? And say, if you pass very well. So right from my friend and I, Ifeoluwa, right from day one, we started studying. And of course, when the results came out, it was AAA. Then the federal government had just started the atomic energy. I can't remember what they called it in Ife. It's been about 40 years now. So and everybody in physics who passed very well was forced to go and do engineering physics. But we were smart. Before then, we had taken admission into Unilag and ABU to study engineering. And so when our results came out and they said we had to go and do civil engineering, what we did was to just ask for results to be posted to those universities. And I remember that my friend who used to live in Lagos had gone and had gotten admission, and I didn't have an admission. So so he called me one day and said, "Oh, I'm already in. I've secured admission into Unilag." So I went to Unilag and and I asked around, and they said the admission officer for the Faculty of Engineering in those days was Dr. Susu. So I went to Dr. Susu. In those days, I will arrange my testimonial from Government College Ibadan first, then my school search results, and then when they were sending my transcript from Ife, I had pleaded that I wanted a copy. So I secured a copy of my transcript, and I will attach it to it. So I gave it to Dr. Susu, and he said to me, now Professor Susu, I'm not sure, I think it's Professor Susu now. I don't know where he is anymore. And he said to me, this is a fantastic result. Go and start lectures, any of the departments that you want. But unfortunately, civil engineering is filled up. So the next thing that appealed to me was electrical engineering, and I started electrical engineering, and eventually he sent his recommendation to Vice Chancellor, Professor Ade Ajayi at the time. I remember when I got to the admission office, we used to go to admission office regularly to go and check. When I got to the admission office, we would stand by the window, and one afternoon, the admission officer or the clerk there asked and said, "Who is Ifeoluwa?" And I came out, and he asked me to come in and check and see the comments of the Vice Chancellor. The Vice Chancellor ministered to us and said, "This is a fantastic result, please admit." And that was how I got into University of Lagos to study electrical engineering. But if I didn't, I think it was my height that stopped me from really pursuing a career in the military. If I had been like 5'9" or 5'10", I think I would have pushed harder to go into the military.
Wow, that's interesting. Is any of your children an engineer or is any of them studying engineering?
Unfortunately, no. One of my daughters is planning to be a mechanical engineer, and I hope she eventually, one of them is studying biomedical engineering now. But my first daughter, has a PhD in public health. My second son, my second child is a boy. He has a degree in IT, in information technology. Then I have a lawyer, and then I have somebody who did business administration with economics. So I'm hoping to have an engineer very soon.
Okay. Matcom Limited. Tell us about it.
Matcom Limited is a child of protest. I was executive director in a company, and I was young. I was very versatile. I was mobile. I was highly connected to people in positions of authority, and I was doing a lot of things. And I didn't think the executive chairman was dynamic enough, so that's why I left and got some of my friends together, and we established Matcom Limited. We started with doing so many things, supply of chemicals to NNPC and so on and so forth, and to the industries. I remember that we were the largest supplier of soda ash to Ifeoluwa glass in those days. Then we were doing engineering construction. We started by doing electrical engineering construction, and then we veered into civil engineering. We did consultancy, and we did construction as well, and so many things. That's what Matcom has been doing until I left in 2016.
Fantastic. You have been involved in a lot of projects in the past, as you mentioned, both in Matcom and even before you joined, you formed Matcom. Which of them will you say was the most challenging, and which of them will you look back at and you just beat your chest and say, Eureka?
I think the Bola Ige house in Osogbo, where we did the electrical and mechanical, both in the build up to it, how we got the information, how we tendered for it, how we won the bid on merit, was quite an experience. Of course, the 2 by 150 MVA, 2 by 60 MVA, 330 by 132 by 33 kV transmission substation in Lafayette, which we are about now connecting to the Jos to Makurdi line, is also a very challenging and very interesting project, which we have done with the Niger Delta Power Holding Company Limited. Delayed by the COVID-19 intervention that lasted for about 15 months, but by and large, it's been very challenging, and we have been able to keep to the timeline. I think it's worthy of showcasing.
On August 26, 2016, you were appointed by the President and Commander-in-Chief of the Armed Forces of the Federal Republic of Nigeria, President Muhammadu Buhari, as an Executive Director, Engineering and Technical Services, Niger Delta Power Holding Company Limited. Did that come to you as a surprise?
It was a great surprise. First, because of the level I was. I mean, a lot of information. I think there's a lot of information have been going around about what position I would occupy in the new government in 2015. But at the point that I decided that, okay, I was going to go back to my office, and I started renovating the office and putting things together and trying to plan a new course, I got a call one day from the immediate past Secretary of Government of the Federation, Dr. Babachiri Lawal, and it was a Friday, and he said to me, Oga, congratulations, you have been appointed so and so. I didn't quite hear it properly. And we were in a friend's house with my wife, and I just heard it, and I said to myself, what is this? So I wanted to ask him questions, and he said, no, Oga, you know, I was the one that called you. If you wanted to talk to me, you will have called me. And he cut off the phone. I was angry. So I called, I sent a text. My wife was sitting on the same couch with me. I sent a text to her and I said, I have bad news for you. And she said, what? I said, later. Of course, like lovers, before we left that place, we had quarreled over one minor thing. And she wouldn't dare to ask me what I was talking about. So we left, we went home. And I didn't talk to her. She didn't talk to me. We were just eating and playing. And, but I immediately put a call to my friend, and I hope that is on this platform, Dr. Kunle Hamilton. And I said to him, this is what I saw. And I said, I'm not going to accept it. And he said, oh, yes, I agree with you. I said, and I had not up until that time heard about Niger Delta Power Holding Company Limited. And the following Monday, it was a Friday. The following Monday, I went to my office and I sat down. And Dr. Hamilton encouraged me, and we were planning together how we were going to reject it, whether we were going to write a letter to the government or to wait until they get to me or something. So I sat down in my office on that day, and as I sat down, I felt as if a man walked into my office and said to me, "Good evening." And I said, "Good evening. What do you want? You have done your worst." And he said, "I want to ask you 2 questions." I don't know if I should tell this story. I think people should hear it for the first time in my memoirs. But I'll continue because I hope it will serve as inspiration to other people. And I said, "Go on, please ask the question." And he said, "1, what was the first job that David got after he was anointed king of Israel?" I was like, "What is this?" And I said, "Okay, he became the servant of the deposed king." And he said, "Very good." And a mad one at that. Then he said, "Number 2, you said you will not bow to any god. You said you will not join any cult. You said you will not lobby. Which of these 3 have you done before you got this job?" And I said, "None." He said, "So who did it?" And it was as if the man vanished from my face. And I was in a quandary. I called my secretary and I said, "Look, pack my things and let me leave." And I left the office. And on the way, I dropped my driver. I went to the club. I was troubled. I went to Ikoyi Club. And when I got to Ikoyi Club, my junior friend, my friend Kunle, was trying to encourage me to be cheerful. And I said to him, "I have to go to Abuja on tomorrow, and I'm troubled." And anyway, he tried to encourage me. In actual fact, I remember very clearly that evening he bought snails and all kinds of food for me, and I got home. I'm not sure whether I remember to call Dr. Hamilton again, but I got home and I couldn't sleep. At about 2-3 a.m., I called my wife and I said, "We'll be traveling to Abuja tomorrow morning." And she said, "Okay." In the morning, she started asking me what happened. And I said, "Oh, this is what happened. This is what I saw." And she said, "Okay, let's go." I didn't know that she had contacted one of my daughters, Motolani, who I think is also on this platform too. And they had Googled what NDPAC is and everything. So when we landed and we're driving from the airport to the office of the Secretary of Government of the Federation, I was asking my wife that I don't even know this company. I said, "Oh, this is the company." She was telling me about the company. And she was telling me about how they Googled it, how she had sent her sister to go and look at the offices of the company, and so on and so forth. And that's the beginning of this journey that started 5 years ago.
Wow. Now, another dimension to it is this. And before I go into that, I saw a publication that described you like this. One of the paragraphs said that he has also been actively involved as a political organizer and canvasser, exclusively for parties and candidates that share his ideologies and visions for Nigeria. Another paragraph says he is an extremely intelligent and versatile individual. Now, you went inside the political arena in the last APC Guba primaries in Ondo State. What was the reason behind that?
Thank you. I don't know if I'm versatile or extremely intelligent. I hope that one day when people talk about me, they will tell me how. I seriously am humbled by when people say I'm intelligent. I don't know how I'm intelligent. I'm not better than any other person. I'm just a man who tries to be correct in whatever I do. But
that's what
yes,
I said about you.
Okay, I went into the race to be governor of Ondo State because I'm plagued. I'm angry about the conditions of our nations. And I believe that we can be better. I believe seriously that you can lead by example. And that's why I went into the race. And when I stepped down, I negotiated 3 things. One, I asked that the governor of Ondo State should get intelligent people from all over the world to prepare a blueprint for socio-economic development of Ondo State that we will turn into law, and every succeeding government will have to abide by it, or at least take it as a Bible, and then you can amend it, but at least you will have to abide. 2, I said it will be the responsibility of the government of Ondo State to assist citizens of Ondo State to get into positions of authority anywhere in the world, anywhere they find us, even to help them in their business to get better. 3, I said I want him to write his own history, whether he wants his history to be 1 paragraph. And I said to him, and I have witnesses. My wife was a witness. The governor of Ekiti State was a witness, who is the chairman of the Governors Forum, Nigerian Governors Forum, and so many other people, and a few of other people. And I said, if you may want your history to be 1 paragraph. And I said, when we were doing history in secondary school in those days, you will see they will mention the name of a king, and they will say he ruled from 1705 to 1799 or 17 something. And he was from so and so ruling house, and he died, he was buried in so and so place. That will be all that will be written for. Yet there will be kings that books and pages and pages and pages will be written about him. And I remember I said to him, you will decide whether you want to be a governor who, when you leave office, when you get to Ikoyi Club, for instance, or to a lounge in an airport, and all the seats are occupied, people will greet you and say, Your Excellency, and then sit down and be looking. Or whether everybody will get up and say to you, please come and take my seat, please come and take my seat. No, you have to sit here. And I said, that's all. And it will, I hope everybody who is listening to me gets that message. Everyone can write their own epitaph. And I think that's my next paper that I'm delivering on the 27th of November to an August gathering in some old boys association, my old boys association, where I'm going to be guest speaker. Only you can write your own epitaph. Whatever anybody writes on your grave when you die is a lie, but you yourself must write it before you exit this world.
Wow. Now let us go to a very important thing. I know as the executive director.
Mama, come on fan for us. Okay, it's in cave for cave, but
as an executive director in 1 minute.
Mama, can you on fan for us? Please on fan me.
Okay, I think I've handled that. As an executive director in NDPHC, when we are growing up in Nigeria, we used to hear of NEPA, and many Nigerians will say that NEPA is never expect power, always. And from NEPA, we moved to PHCN, which many of us also called Please Hold Your Candle Now, or Hold Your Candle Nigerians. Now, why I say this is this. Just recently, last week, I saw a campaign poster. It surfaced on the social media of Shehu Shagari when he was campaigning for his re-election in 1983. And one of the things he mentioned was power for all. Then, during the era of Obasanjo as president of Nigeria, we had the then Minister of Power, Bola Ige, who also promised Nigerians that by the year 2000, power for all, uninterrupted power for all by the year 2000. This power issue continues to be a recurring decimal in our history. And every Nigerian, anytime any politician wants to talk, he will say power for all. Now you are in NDPHC. When will Nigerians see light at the end of this tunnel?
I am presently just today completing a lecture that I'm delivering on the 8th of November at the Congress Hall of the Transcorp Hilton Hotel as the distinguished lecturer for this year's Distinguished Electrical and Electronics Engineer Annual Lecture. And I think I will use this opportunity to invite all of you to listen to that, whether it will be streamed online all over the world, on YouTube, live and everything. But I have traced the history of power supply in Nigeria from 1891 to this day. And I have highlighted all the mistakes that we keep making. In everything that is happening today happened in 1895, 1892, the inability of people to pay for power, 1895, 1896, 1952, and so on and so forth. The intervention of government, the unbundling, the inviting private investors to be able to make their own generation and so on and so forth. But I don't want to talk about this. But after that, if we are bold enough to implement the solutions that I will give, I'm sure that it is to have light at the end of the tunnel is very simple. We need the will of government, like this government is doing, but we need to do more. We need to do just a little bit more to ensure that there is light on it. It's simple solution. Yes, unfortunately, these days we need a lot of money to do a lot of things. But let me explain briefly before we leave that topic there. That NDPAC is not in charge of making power available to consumers. We were supposed to build, operate, build and transfer, build power plants and transfer. It was in the process that we knew that if you build power plants, you need to ensure that the gas that can be used to run it get into it. So we started building gas pipelines and gas metering stations and so on and so forth. And after that, we thought that, if you build a power plant and you can generate, how do you get it to the consumers? And then government decided that, let us help them to build transmission lines. And after that, you put the power on the network. What happens? Nothing. And then we started to build injection substations and doing distribution networks all over the country. There is no organization that has done the kind of things that NDPAC has done in the last 29 years or 130 years, yes, that power supply has come to Nigeria. No organization, and I say that with all sense of responsibility. Unfortunately, when we do things, for instance, in Ondo South Central District, where they have not had power in 16 years or thereabout, where we have gone there, we have rehabilitated all the lines, we have built substations for them. They still think that it is the duty of NDPAC to put power inside their bedroom. No, it's not going to happen. And yes, now because of the amount of investment we have done in that area and in so many other areas, we're doing some other things, taking advantage of the eligible customer thing so that we can ensure that, like His Excellency Raji Fashola said, when you have done all of this, if the consumers are not receiving power at the end of the day, all that you have done is in vain. So we are trying to make sure that we exploit the loopholes in the Power Sector Reform Act, Electricity Power Reform Act, to make sure that power is available to Nigerians, and we'll continue to do that.
All right. You were recently reappointed as Executive Director, NDPHC. After that, what next?
I live my philosophy of life is that you live every day of your life to the best of your abilities. I have no control over what will happen tomorrow. But all I know is that if you commit me to sweeping a room today, I will do it to the best of my abilities. I remember very well when we were going to start the campaign of President Muhammadu Buhari, and those in my group were planning that we wanted a younger person to be the chairman of the party. And they were already projecting me to be the chairman of the party. So when they went for a meeting, unfortunately, I didn't even come for that meeting. I remember it was the same Dr. Babachir Lawal who called me and said, oh, they wouldn't accept you as the chairman of the party for reasons, which I agreed with. And he said, would you like to be the coordinator of Buhari's campaign of General's campaign? Then we used to call him General in Ondo State. And I was angry from being chairman to being coordinator in the state. So I wanted to reply him, and then the telephone cut up at a particular point. I will never forget, just before Palm Grove in Lagos, because that is an area where you pass, it will normally cut off your MTN line. So when I got home, I was trying to get him back, I couldn't reach him. By the time I got home, the Holy Spirit has dealt with me and said, who are you? Who do you think you are? Why do you think you deserve to be chairman of a political party? And that humbled me. So when he ventured, and as I stepped into my room, he called me back and said, yes, I want your answer now because I have to go to General to go and tell him. And I said, BD, that's how we used to call him, BD. Even if all I have to contribute to this is to sweep the campaign office, I am prepared. And he said, no, I want your yes or no. And I said, yes. And that is it. So I believe that my duty, I don't kid myself. I don't deceive myself that I'm able to do all things, that I'm Mr. World. No, but I know that what I am able to do is that when you commit anything in my hand, I will do it very well. The other things, God will take care of other things. And of course, your performance will enable people to place their trust in you. So that will be my answer to that question.
You will understand this passage in the Bible. Psalm 121, verse 1. It says that I will lift up my eyes
unto the hills,
from whence cometh my help. You are from Sunshine State, Ondo State. If tomorrow out to the east and to the west, and there is only one man that the sun shines on to lead them, is you. Can you say no to them?
I don't think the answer, the issue is whether to say no or not. If you have if like I said, if they ask me to come and sweep the governor's office and I have the power to do it, I'll do it, gladly do it. So if that is not the case, if it is to be the governor, it's not to rule. I don't want to rule the people. I want to be a team leader. I want to be somebody, and the work of a governor or a president is not to rule, is not to govern, is to identify enough potentials. And Ondo State has the potentials to be the richest country in Africa, the richest state, the richest nation in Africa. We have a spot for the deep sea port. We have the longest seaport, sea border in Nigeria. We have spots for deep seas that you don't need to dredge. We have the potential to ensure 24/7 power supply within a maximum of 15 months by building a 132 kV substation in Okeagbe, by completing the 132 kV line in Akure, by building a 132 kV line in Owo, by building one in Ondo, by completing the one that is almost completed in Odeonije, and prospecting gas to feed Ondo State, and buying power from Omotosho power plant to supply all of these places. Ondo State will become the first state in Nigeria to attain 24/7 power supply. And we can build so many things from planting, from simple plant. We can begin within 3 months, within 4 months, to start making jute bags, to a lot of things that we can do. I will not be a governor who will build giant hospitals, but I will ensure that every man in Ondo State will have access to simple medical care, and to treat malaria, to treat snake bite, to treat dog bite, to treat headache, simple, and to ensure that every child that is born can survive, and so on and so forth. I will improve the educational facilities and access to educational facilities. I will ensure that every child can exhibit his potential, his God-given potential, either as a sportsman. What is the big deal in building tennis courts or in making table tennis available? We have friends all over the world who will donate this thing. What is the big deal in ensuring that every man in Ondo State can have a second-hand laptop for use in secondary schools? Why is it impossible to ensure internet connectivity in Ondo State? You know, what is difficult in building basketball courts? What is difficult in organizing and government is not going to do this alone. In working with Channels Television, for instance, to do the school kids football club and identify talents who will go to Segun Odegbami's football academy, or the one in Ilori, before we build our own and invite private practitioners to come and build small ones. I'm not going to develop a Kano. No, I'm going to develop young kids who can become great men of God. And I'm not going to be in a hurry or in any competition with anybody to establish fantastic buildings and everything. No, I'm going to make sure that you can travel from one spot to the other. Even if it's a dual carriage, it's a single carriage lane in Ondo State, I'm going to make sure that every child can survive. And I'm going to make sure that we can attract direct investment to Ondo State with all of this. You know, I have a lot of plans and I don't need to, but I will play my golf, because I know that even on this platform, there are great men, intelligent men, people who I can describe as extremely brilliant men, you know, who I will use to do that work. And that is the work of a leader. That's what a leader is supposed to do. I see so many people here who are experts in various fields. I'm not even an expert in any field, that will come and help us once you give them the conducive atmosphere to operate.
I think I can say that Ondo State already has a governor in the waiting. Let's leave it like that. We pray, continue to pray that your dreams and your aspirations for your state will come to pass. And back to engineering. Do you have any regret practicing engineering in Nigeria?
No, none at all. None at all. I mean, there's work to be done. There's a lot of work to be done. I was telling some people that the next president of NSC should be a man who can revolutionize engineering and the practice of engineering in Nigeria. For instance, how much do we pay as annual dues in NDPC? That's why we in Nigerian Society of Engineers. That's why we go cap in hand to go and beg people to sponsor our events. I mean, even in law, the Nigerian Bar Association, we know how much they pay. Why are companies not being made to, companies that have 50 engineers, for instance, why are we not making it compulsory for them to pay dues to NSE? Why are people who, many of us go about with the fellow of the Nigerian Society of Engineers, and we are made to pay 10,000 or thereabout every year as annual dues? Why should that be? We should be paying 500,000 or 250,000 naira, and we should make engineers of various age group, a practice age group, to pay a certain amount of money so that the society can have enough resources to fund itself. We should revolutionize. I mean, in Nigerian Society of Engineers, we should not be talking about sex to hold positions in engineering. We should not be talking about tribe or religion. We should not be talking about those things. We should look for good people, competent people to lead us in engineering and showcase that we are professionals with a difference. Then everybody will be happy to be an engineer in Nigeria. I'm not saying those who have been there by one way or the other are not competent, but I'm saying that those are not things we should be discussing in engineering. That is my opinion. And I'm sure that a lot of you know that I won't shy from expressing my opinion. But more than anything, I think that engineers are the best qualified to go into politics in Nigeria. We are extremely very brilliant. We understand processes, and therefore there's no reason why we should not dominate engineering in Nigeria. Why do we allow people of other professions to donate politics, which is where you get power to do things, and then they come back to dictate how we're going to do practice engineering to us? I think it is a wake-up call for all of us as engineers to move into the arena and get our hands soiled.
Thank you very much. I hope I think I saw the Deputy President of the Nigerian Society of Engineers, who actually is the president-elect. By the next 3 months or less than 3 months, he'll be taking over as the president of the Nigerian Society of Engineers. I think he is part of this program. He's one of the participants for today. I know he listened attentively to what some of the recommendations you made, and I believe he will take it off from there. Now, as we are wrapping it up, can you say you are a fulfilled engineer?
Oh, I said that earlier on. I'm extremely fulfilled. I'm proud to belong to this family. I love to be an engineer. And I pray that if there is an opportunity to come back again, I will still be an engineer. Maybe I'll practice engineering better. I will start to learn and to understand engineering better than I am today. But I have no regret at all. No regret to be an engineer. I think the engineering family is my cause group.
Thank you very much. And now, if you can turn the hand of time, what is that thing you would have loved to change?
The way that I talk and shout. That's the only thing. Sometimes because when I'm passionate about something, I seem to raise my voice. And people will take it as if I'm angry. And I tell people that it takes more than the usual to get me to be angry. And that's the truth. I see every human being as limited in everything in life. And we all have our weaknesses. Therefore, it takes more than you can do to an ordinary human being to get me angry. I will usually put myself in your position and think, well, what if I'm in this position? And I tell you, some of the people who have been very cruel to me in life when I was much, much younger, today I know that they are recipients of my love. Therefore, but when I get excited, when I get passionate about an issue, when I have to repeat the same instructions to you all of the time, I raise my voice, and it's not an expression of anger. Even my wife and I think my children understand that. Even my wife cannot understand it when I get very passionate about about you dropping a piece of paper somewhere or doing something, repeatedly that I've talked about. But it's not an expression of anger. I'm a very busy person, and I utilize my every second. But I'm sure that if some of my staff, and I see some of them on this platform, are here, they will tell you that ED doesn't mean any harm to anybody. So maybe that's the only thing I would like to. I would like to come back to the same family. I would like to come back from the same village that I'm born in. I would like to be a Yoruba man. I'm very proud to be a Yoruba man. I'm very, very passionate. I consider myself privileged to be a Nigerian, and I would not want to be any other thing in my second coming. I still want to be a Nigerian. I still want to do the things. I have no regret in my life. Even the things that have been failures in my life have turned out to be God's way of teaching me and lifting me up.
Okay. As we are just gradually rounding off the program, the direct question, that's the direct free kick segment of this show. Now, in the book, Things Fall Apart, precisely chapter 3 of Things Fall Apart, Okonkwo narrated a story of his life when he had a very big challenge, a very big setback, and he was able to overcome that setback. And he summarized like this. He said, each time I look back at what I was able to overcome, and he said, if I could survive this, I can survive anything. Have you had setback, a major setback in your life, that whenever you look back, you smile and say, if I could survive this, I can survive anything?
I wish that my children and my wife were not on this platform, because I don't want them to be embarrassed by what I'm going to say. But I will say it because I will say it to the glory of God. I've had several setbacks in my life. I have been ejected from my rented apartment, maybe not pushed out, but I've been rejected. I've been broke to the extent that I was not able to pay my children's school fees. I have, I don't know what else I have not gone through. But, in all of this, I think, and I must give kudos to my family, my wife, my children, and most of all, as well, my friends, the likes of Kunle Hamilton, and so many, Pastor Terry, Shagai, Shola, Adewumi, Pastor, so many of my pastor friends. I have too many pastor friends, too many, that when I get into all of these situations, they give me hope. Do you know that I have been, I'm a very emotional person. I cry, I do everything, but they encourage me. And God has always strengthened me. Today, I'm a fulfilled man in all areas of life. And I can only give glory to God. There's so many instances when I look back and I smile. And most of all, I now know the purpose of my life, because many people come to me. This morning, there was one expatriate man who was with me when another young man came to my office to tell me about the stories, the wars that he has been going through. And I encouraged him and prayed for him. And when he was going, I called him to talk to the expatriate. And the expatriate told him the story of his life. He said, I came to this house the same way that you came this morning. And when this man was praying for me, and I was just looking at him and saying, what is all this? I mean, all these problems, EFCC, this and that. What is prayer? And he went away. 2 years after that, he called me and said, you are a prophet. And I'm not a prophet. I'm just a man who has received mercy and grace from God. And I'm able to teach other people to say, look, what you are going through, I have gone through it. And therefore, this solution is going to happen, because he says in his word whosoever cometh unto me, I will no wise cast out. Whosoever, whether you are, whatever you are, I will no wise cast out. I don't want to say too much about those things that I've gone through, because I want people to be eager to read the book of my life when by God's grace, it eventually comes out.
Where do you see yourself in the next 10 years? And what do you want to achieve before you clock 70?
I want to see the people that I have mentored begin to manifest themselves in me. I'm sure that Dr. Yari is on this platform, and he's the head of department under me. And people who know me will tell you that I'm very fussy about the quality of memos and letters that come out from my office. And I said to him that I don't want to read his memos anymore because he's beginning to write like me. And I said to him that, like the Smith, the Smith that they talked about in the Bible, I want to see that everybody that has gone through me, whether they hate me or they like me, is not the issue. But I want to see and be sure that when I look into the mirror, I can see my image in them. That will be my ultimate joy in life. That will be my legacy in life, not money. I want to see in another 10 years in Nigeria, where all of us will be proud to say yes, with good roads, with steady, uninterrupted power supply, with railway lines flying across the country, with peace and security all over, so that we will go back to the days when we were young, when alone you can pick your car and drive from one end of Nigeria to the other. That is what I want to see in Nigeria in 10 years' time. And I hope to be part of this process that leads to birthing that new nation in whatever capacity. Whether it is going to be on my knees, whether it is going to be in training one person and ensuring that my children are that example of people who, and I know that today, I don't have a child who can throw one piece of paper on any street, even between Sokoto and Maiduguri, anywhere in the world. I don't have that kind of child who will bring out a piece of sweet wrapper and throw it on the street. And that is the kind of thing I look forward to. I don't deceive myself to think that I'm Charles Atlas. No, I'm not. I'm just an ordinary human being, and I want to influence myself. But if I have the opportunity to go further, to beyond NDPAC, beyond my home, to my local government, to my state, or even Nigeria, I will gladly do it without destroying another man or giving my life to the devil.
Wow. As we wrap it up, you mentioned about a book about your life. What will be the title of that book?
A God-made man, maybe. There's nothing that I have that I have not, a God-made man. There's nothing that I have that I have not been given. Nothing, absolutely.
A God-made man.
Yes, and I don't believe that there's any man who is a self-made man, who is anything. I just believe that God has been kind to me. I've been a recipient of mercy and grace.
A God-made man. I can't wait to see the launch of that book. On a final note, what is your advice for young Nigerian professionals, young engineers, young Nigerians, as we wrap it up?
I think my best advice to every human being is to pursue truth, to love their fellow human beings, and to guard their integrity with all of their heart and with all of their passion, even at the point of death. And I will say to them the words that of my father. You know, there's a song that I listen to almost every day. It's incidentally, and I've translated into English. many times. Incidentally, by Tope Alabi. It talks about life. It talks about the things that push you in life. It talks about those things. This chair, this house that I own, one day I won't know who is going to. This ring on my finger, I don't know where it is going to end up. This wristwatch, I don't know where it is going to. These clothes will eventually fade away. The beauty that you see now, one day I will be an old man of 95 years. You say, and you see a picture and you say, who is this? You know, so there's nothing that is worth dying for. Nothing. Even the 15-year, this 12-month pandemic has taught all of us that all the things that we have mean nothing to all of us. So if young men can learn this at an early age, it will help them in life. It will also help to try to achieve perfection in everything that they do. The Bible is clear about it. Be ye perfect, just as your Father in heaven is perfect. So it's not a sin to strive to do things excellently. And I think the words of my father, beauty fades, riches take to their wings and fly away. But the one and only lasting quality of a man is his character.
Something just came to my mind. You know, I left it at Dolly Parton. I think I'm going to be wrapping it up with that. And one of the most, one of the hit tracks of Dolly Parton is Coat of Many Colors. And you have told us stories of your life. Is that song one of the, is your life, but does this song tell a story of your life? Coat of
Well,
Many Colors.
not exactly, because yes, but not exactly. You know, compared to a lot of other people, I come from a privileged family. My father was, to us, and to many people who knew him, a great man. I mean, my father was larger than life. But I went through, look, like I told you, I crossed over from University of Ife to Unilag, and my father didn't like it. He thought that my professors were right in asking me to go and do engineering physics, and therefore he stopped giving me money. So you can imagine, I learned to do 0, 1, 0 in secondary, in university. And I didn't know that God was pushing me, was training me to the time when my wife will cook rice and we will not be able to afford to put meat on it. I didn't know at that time. So if you know Dolly Parton, if you really know Dolly Parton like I do, every song that she sings is very meaningful. Every night when I listen to Dolly Parton, I cry. So that is just one of many, many inspirational songs that teach you a lot of things about life. And there are, like I said to you, do you want to talk about Sonny Ade? Do you want to talk about Ebenezer Obey? Do you want to talk about even Ayinla Omowura? Do you want to talk about Tope Alabi? And many other songs like this. These songs are inspirational songs. And I want to advise anybody who doesn't listen to songs to go and look for artists like this and see the philosophy they put into it. Even Jimmy Cliff, even Fela still sings songs today. You still listen to certain songs and you think it is happening today. You know, so Dolly Parton is a great, and when I'm celebrating my next birthday, apart from asking that my children will give me a Rolls Royce, I will also ask that they bring Dolly Parton to sing in my sitting room. It will be my joy to have her sing along with me, and I'm sure that they are all laughing there. And I'm making a request to them. But she's a great singer who talks about life. When I was in the university, every 24 hours, even when I'm going to class, my sound system will be playing Dolly Parton. When my friends come into the room, they say, "Oh, if Ife has come again from with his Onyibo child." She sings to me even when I'm asleep. She sings to me, and it's inspirational. Of course. Like I said to you, all of my philosophy I derive from the Bible and the Yoruba culture, you know, which I'm very proud of, which I mean, look, when I talk in business meetings, I quote Yoruba proverbs endlessly, and God has given me the grace to translate it all of the time that I say this proverb. So I take pride in all of those things, and they make up what I am today.
Wow. Engineer Ifeoluwa Oyedele has been our guest for today. It's been wonderful, you know, having you on this show. As I said at the beginning, you are the second person we are inviting for this show. The first was the president of Koren, Engineer Ali Masuya Rabiu. Now we are done with the direct free kick segment of this program. We are now going to the corner kick. Corner kick is the time we allow the audience or the participants to ask questions. So the participants, we ask questions. Any of the participants that have questions, we raise his hand. Once we see a hand raised, we will ask you to unmute. I can see Messiah Ame. Messiah Ame, unmute and ask your question.
Good evening, everyone. Good evening, Engineer Ben Osioko. Thank you so much for this opportunity. Am I very audible, please?
Yes, we can hear you. Go on.
Okay, I really appreciate this opportunity. My name is Engineer Messiah Ame. As a power engineer, I'm very fortunate to be here, hearing Engineer Ife speak about all the engineering terms, especially in the power sector. I'm really pleased. I actually have two questions. The first question is, I don't know if he has a list of mentors. I would love to be added to that list and be mentored by him. His love for God is really amazing, and I would love to learn under him. As a power engineer, this is really a blessing for me to be getting this request. Then secondly, I'm the coordinator of young engineers of NSE Ikeja branch. I don't know which branch Engineer Ife belongs to, but as a fellow, I know he has served the profession and he has done a lot of amazing things. As we all know, our conference is coming up in Abuja, and as a lover of young engineers, from what he has said, I would love to request if he can sponsor young engineers for this.
I think when we are starting this program, I did say that we have a ground rule, and the host has the power to declare any question that is out of context as offside, and the guest will be excused from answering that question. The question we should be
Ben,
asking.
sorry, Ben.
Yeah, so
I'm one of those people who encourage us as older people to allow the young people to ask any and every question. And I'm sure that those who are in NDPAC will know that I say to people that if you have an officer 1 or officer 2 in a meeting with me, they must be allowed to express their views. And I think I am capable of answering that question. Please, I beg you. I know you are. Yes, please.
Okay, sir.
Yes.
Okay, go ahead, sir.
Okay, thank you very much. He has once again shown us how.
Thank you very much. So that we don't waste time. We don't waste time. I will get in touch with you outside this program so that we can talk about it. Thank you.
All right. Bulus Abegi.
Yes, good evening, Engineer Ben. Good evening, Engineer Ife. I'm actually excited to be part of this program. Of course, I'm joining for the first time today, and it gladdens my heart to hear my senior colleague. I'm a practicing power engineer as well, working with Yola Electricity Distribution Company. My question is pretty straightforward, sir. As a senior and a high-ranking engineer who has ventured into politics, I want to know, have you and other senior engineers provided sufficient mentoring for us, the young ones that are coming up? And just like the other person has said, I don't mind if I will be added to your to your list too of the people that you need to mentor, because I'm a practicing power system engineer. Thank you very much, sir.
Okay.
Okay.
That's taken. The next person is Oluwadare Joshua. Oluwadare Joshua. Unmute your mic and then ask your question.
Thank you. I'm really glad to be part of this meeting. I appreciate Engineer Oyedele for that insightful speech. Thank you very much. So my question is that what is the innovative solution to power supply in Nigeria? How can, in a sentence, how can we solve power problem in Nigeria? What's your recommendation? And what do you say about civil engineering? Because you say you are admitted to solve civil. How do you put civil and electrical together? Do you have passion for civil and passion for electrical? Or what do you say about civil engineering? Thank you.
I think we take the next one so that you can take the 3 questions at once. Dr. Kunle Hamilton. Dr. Kunle Hamilton.
Thank you very much, Engineer. I just sent a chat now appreciating the depth of your interview style. I didn't know that engineers are this good at interviewing. I thought it was only media people like us. Thank you so much, Engineer Oyedele, for being so forthright. One, an observation, then a political question. My observation is that perhaps one of the areas that you just dusted through, which I think would inspire Nigerian fathers on this group, is I discovered in my friendship with you that you are a very peculiar kind of father and husband. And to see you talk about so many things in the area of politics and engineering, I think it's an area where you can share your thoughts, because I know that parenting is a very difficult thing for a lot of Nigerians, which perhaps may be the reason not too many young people are inspired to be patriots in this country. So how have you done well in that area? My political question is the issue of corruption. While I'm not going to be asking if you found corruption in the power holding company where you are on the board, I would like for you to look at the landscape of corruption in Nigeria and venture an opinion on how we can cut through it at the civil service level, cut through it at the political level, and incorporate Nigeria. Thank you.
Okay, so you can respond to these ones while we take the next batch of questions.
Okay, I will take the question on sufficient money mentoring for young people and the issue of parenting together. I think one of the best ways to mentor people is to live a life of by example. I think what one day I asked my son, who incidentally is Ifeoluwa Oyedele II, and I said to him, how are you doing that? And he said, I never saw you do anything otherwise. And it struck me that you have to live by example. Now, it was a deliberate thing not to do certain things in the presence of of course, I did certain things which I regret, which I shouldn't have done. But like I said, we are not all powerful. For instance, let me tell you, I stopped drinking in 1977. Stopped drinking alcohol in 1977. And I stopped smoking in 1988 after my second child. However, from the moment I got married in 1986, I purposed in my heart that I would never smoke in the presence of my children. So when and that helped me to stop smoking. When I wanted to smoke, I will have to wait until in the night or when I'm alone in the car, traveling, not within the city, but traveling from one place to the other, thinking that that will help me not to fall asleep. So what I would do is, when I want to smoke, I will go out at 8, 9 o'clock in the night and walk through the neighborhood when it's dark and smoke, and then throw my ashes away. And then I will buy Tom Tom and lick it. So my son or my sons have never tasted alcohol. I have tasted, they have never, because they have never seen me taste alcohol. So the easiest way to parent, to mentor, is to live a life of transparency, a life of discipline. And I say that on corruption and parenting, this is a subject I have talked about many times. Many times. There's a group that is called Solid Foundation, and my children used to go to that school, and I'm sure that it's also helped them in life. I used to teach there. I used to give lectures there, and so on and so forth. You know, you have to live by example. Secondly, on the issue of corruption, I'm not sure that corruption is the problem of Nigeria. I believe that the problem of Nigeria is discipline and incompetence. Under discipline, indiscipline is what makes people to keep files on their table. I know, and I'm saying it publicly, those who are my staff in this place, they know that an invoice cannot stay on my table for 2 minutes unless I'm not there. All those who are contractors on this platform will know and testify that when you get your job, you don't need to see me anymore until you finish your job. And you can be sure that your invoice will not stay 2 minutes on my table. No contractor come to my office to pursue an invoice. You only see me when you have a problem. And I always tell my contractor, you have a duty to worry me if you have a problem on your job. I am saying it openly, and I challenge any contractor to accuse me of anything, anywhere in the world. I have been in charge of contracting since 1984. I was fortunate to have been made to be in charge of contractors since 1984. I can mention all my contractors, all of them. And some of them have visited in my office who are 90, 80 years old today, and I've asked my staff to interview them. Dr. Ogaji is on this, and I'm sure that maybe Dr. Engineer Valerie is on this. Valerie is on this, so they can. I don't know whether Dr. Hamilton. I don't know whether I'm a peculiar father. I think I have also received it. Let me give you an example. When I couldn't pay my children's school fees, and they were in the US, what amount of parenting could have stopped them from taking to drugs or other things, except by God's grace? Yes, they say it is the foundation. They testify that it is the foundation that I've laid. But I give glory, I return all glory and honor unto God. You know, I don't want to say something personal about my son, but the truth of the matter is that he lost semesters in the university, but he kept his head cool. Today, to the glory of God, is a shining example to many, many young people, even older than him around him. But that can only be to the glory of God. And I stress, it is to the glory of God. Anybody who does not know God, and I don't care, I'm not talking about religion. If you don't know God and his philosophy and his way of life, you are deceiving yourself. And I can boast about that. There's nothing that I am that is not God, you know. I think, like I said, the power problem of Nigeria is within reach to be solved. We are on the path to solving the problem, and by the grace of God, we will solve the problem very soon. But I think those who want to learn how to solve the problem of power supply in Nigeria must come to that lecture that I'm going to deliver on the 8th of November. A lot of people have delivered lectures, but I believe that it will be a practical solution to the things that we are going through in that sector today. One of the things I will mention here is that government's disjointed intervention in the power sector, the many groups, the many organizations intervening in the power sector, it must be streamlined, and so that we can get our acts together and move in the direction. But I believe that the power problem in Nigeria is within the ground. We must develop local capacity. I was reading a report in 1952 where the Ijora power plant broke down, and because there was a shipping strike in England, the repaired funds could not be brought back to Nigeria. Are we in the year 2020, when there was pandemic, we were not able to import spare parts? So why can't we make spare parts in Nigeria after 61 years of independence? Isn't that the solution to our problem? And how do we do it? Is it by selling our power plants? No, there are solutions to it. And I will espouse and expand on this on the 8th of November, by God's grace, God keeping us till that time.
All right, so we have about 4 people more that want to ask questions. Maybe before I allow them to ask, I have also a question on the chat room by Yusuf Kelvin Manasseh. The question is, Ondo State has problem of ocean surge along its coastline that's longest in Nigeria. What can you suggest to address this with all the potentials of the deep water in the state? That is from the chat room. Then I will allow Engineer, please, we can make it brief. Engineer Fatai Shodunke, lower your, unmute yourself and ask your question. After that, we have Engineer Abe MD, and Engineer Tasu Wudil, and Engineer Ademola Olorufemi.
Yeah, thank you very much. Yeah, thank you very much. Good evening, sir. I want to stand on the existing protocol because of time. My question is, sir, with due respect, can you tell us who are your mentors and what inspire you? Because according to the over 1 hour presentation now, you just only mentioned your father. And I believe you've not stayed your life throughout with your father. You have other people that you have linked with that has been your mentor. And please kindly share with us. That's number 1. Number 2 is that, can you tell us some of the challenges and achievements that you have recorded so far in your as the executive director? And at the same time, probably we would like to appeal for maybe engaging some of the young engineers, including myself, that are looking for a job through your organization. Thank you very much. That's my question, sir.
Abe, MD. Abe, MD. Unmute and ask your question. If Abe is not ready, Abe, are you ready?
I'm ready.
Okay, you can go on.
Hello.
We can hear you.
Yeah, good evening, sir. Yeah, foremost, I want to appreciate and thank the organizer of this program, bringing my chairman on board. It's not a question, it's just a support to appreciate his effort. Now, Ondo State, we are proud of him, all his effort, even though the southern part of Ondo State, of which he came from, I've been witnessing darkness for the past 15 years. But all his effort to put life back to that area is being frustrated by the school. I believe, you know what we are passing through now presently, and I believe that it is good office to at least see way these schools can be out of business of power in this country, because they are frustrating. Every day we receive calls, crisis, complain that power outage in the state, Ondo State, where my Oga come from. It's my Oga. He has been mentoring me. We have been together for the past years, and I don't want to shout accolade about him, but he's a man that we all respect every day, every second. We are proud of him in Ondo State, and we pray that his knowledge, what he has been putting in the power sector in the country, Ondo State, being the Sunshine State, very soon we witness a good turnout under his leadership. The leadership of which he's aware of, and some people are aware of. I believe by the time we are there, Ondo State will be a standing shore for others.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much, Engineer Abe.
Okay, before you answer, I will read out this question from Professor Stephen Ogaji. Power privatization in Nigeria has not brought the needed emancipation for development.
Sorry, I've noted the question.
Okay, you have noted the question from Stephen Ogaji.
From the chat, yes.
Okay, from the chat. Then Engineer TSG Udil.
Maybe you're talking about corruption.
Engineer TSG Udil.
Hello, good evening.
Good evening.
Good evening, sir.
Good evening, Engineer Udil.
Well, first, I will answer the challenge you put before I ask my question or my comment. And that challenge is well taken care of and well noted. And I assure you, you'll see changes. And those changes are
Thank you very much.
Very, very positive, sir. We are going to.
Thank you.
We are going to have a professional body come January 2020, inshallah.
Thank you very much.
Sir, you know, I am one of the people who have so much passion in you. And today, you have made me to double and double, in fact, to 10, raise to power 10 of my initial belief in it. And I assure you, we have in you a mentor. Even if we are only going to take the lecture for today, it's enough for a mentor, for mentorship. But I assure you, we also have a program of mentorship. In the last 5 years, I have been promising the Nigerian engineers that when I come in as president, I'm going to institutionalize mentoring. And we are going to do that in modern ways, with ICT, where we will link mentors and mentees so that we'll be able to give back to the younger ones. Thirdly, on the young engineers, the members of the Nigerian Scientific Engineers have stipulated that we are going to organize young engineers to the extent that their leader is going to be on the council of the Nigerian Scientific Engineers. I assure you, the first council meeting, we expect the leadership of the young engineers to be on the council. So, sir, we thank you very much for this exposition, and I assure you,
I
will continue. Hello, Ben. Hello.
Okay, we can hear you now. I think your network was fluctuating.
Yes. Okay. As I said, the last part of my speech is that we are going to organize the young engineers as usual, and the leader is going to be on the council as stipulated by the members. There is going to be representation of young engineers on the council of the Nigerian Society. And we will continue to consult Engineer Ifeoluwa for his guidance in everything we do. Thank you very much.
Engineer Ademola Olorufemi.
Yeah, thank you very much, Ben. Great job. Mr. Deputy President, my other colleagues here, it's a great pleasure for me. I've always admired the guest speaker. I've always seen a lot of positives in him. But the greatest one I want to talk about, and I want to challenge all of us. I was very proud, happy, and I don't know what else to say. When he mentioned the fact that invoices, files, they don't spend 2 minutes on this table. I know that. I'm not surprised. But I want to ask the remaining 62 of us on this call to ensure that we're in a position to say exactly what Engineer Ifeoluwa said. Now, there are so many things take away, as Deputy President said, but of greatest note is the fact that he can beat his chest, challenge everyone publicly to say in everywhere since several decades, he has done his job with highest integrity. And as he has mentioned, that is discipline, and that's the bane of our society. Some 1 hour ago, you can see I'm in the car. I was in Radisson in Lagos. I wasn't driving, and I ran into my old friend, Femi Falano. And this is what we were talking about. If majority of us can say what Engineer Ifeoluwa said in terms of doing his job and make bold to say he's not influenced about what he's going to get, what he has gotten. If the 62 of us on this call can boldly say that, they were in the right course. Congratulations, Engineer Oyedele. Great job. Well done. I am very proud of you.
Thank you, sir.
Right, before I allow you, I think there's only just one person remaining. And for those who are joining us, recall that this is the second to the last lap of today's event. That's the corner kick. And after that, we go to the extra time where we ask questions. From the question will come from the answers. Some of the answers provided by the guests. We're going to ask question, 1 or 2 questions, and the first person to post in the correct answer will win this beautiful laptop that I have in my hand, courtesy of our guest, Engineer Pedro Pere. Yeah, that's the last question we are going to take before we hand over the mic to our guest to answer the questions. Engineer Pere Pedro, unmute and the answer, unmute yourself and answer your question.
Yeah, good evening, the House. It has been a very interesting meeting, but there's a young engineer here that has been following the meeting, and she's so curious to ask this question. That's why the hands has been raised. So I will hand it over to Engineer Fnse Okolocha.
Hello, good evening, House.
Good evening.
Yes, my name is Engineer Fnse Okolocha. I'm a graduate of Ibadan University of Kada, and I studied civil engineering. I must say it has been a very interesting topic, and I've been following up back to back, which leads me to my question. My question for the House is that I would like to inquire, why does the distribution end tariff for electricity keep on increasing? On a daily basis, people complain about the fact that they buy cards, especially the people that make use of prepaid meter, they buy cards, and the amount, the worth of electricity they get is not equivalent to the amount they spend on the card they buy. So I want to know if there is any way this can be looked into. Maybe a reduction can be made. That's my question, basically, sir.
All right, thank you.
Thank you
very much. I think at this point, I hand over to our guests to respond to the questions and the comments.
All right, thank you very much. I'll just run through all of the questions and give brief answers. One, the issue of tariff is not strange. I said to you that in 1892, one of the problems, even when power supply was coming to Nigeria, one of the immediate problems was that the town council, the government at the time, was not able to pay for the number of street lights that and the ones in the homes, and many devices were and subsidy has started as far back as 1891. Subsidy, government intervening and paying the difference or writing off debts and so on and so forth. But when you listen to my lecture on the 8th of November, you will find the solution, because I don't want to bore and I don't want to keep all of you on this track for too long. There's a solution for the underserved. And I don't want to say the key things that I'm going to say on that day. There's a solution for the underserved. You'll be able to watch that program. It's the annual lecture of the Nigerian Institute of Electrical and Electronics, and it will be live on YouTube and everywhere. So, who is my mentor? Who is my mentor? The Almighty God, through Jesus Christ, my Lord and Savior. That's my mentor. And I said that I pick mentors in every area of life. My mentor in humility, for instance, is Major General Oladayo Popola. I can go on and on and on and on and pick various mentors. General President Muhammadu Buhari is my mentor on humility. Even as president of Nigeria, he has never sat down to shake me, ordinary me, worthless human being. I mean, on integrity, he's also my mentor. I have mentors in every area on how to rub my body. My wife is my mentor. I pick mentors in every area of my life as I go through life. If I see that you do something very well that I like, I will tell you, and I will keep doing the same thing. On and on. NDPAC, challenges and achievements, they are too numerous to mention. Of course, changing the way of life of people, the way they do things, is a challenge. The fact that we are daily confronted with shortage of funds is a challenge. The fact that Nigeria is bedeviled with the scourge of vandalization is a problem. The fact that Nigerians don't even understand how to give to this nation. They don't want to sacrifice everything. Everybody wants to get paid for their shrines, for lines running over their lack of, I can go on and on, but our achievements are too numerous to mention. There's hardly any state in Nigeria today where we don't have a presence, in spite of limited resources. Building transmission lines, completing them, building injection substations all over the country. The problem in most of these places is the fact that the privatization, the Electricity Power Sector Reform Act also cages our hand. So we are not able to do those lines and connect them to power supply. Gas is a problem. We don't have, we are able to produce 4,000 megawatts any day. Most days we are only able to put 700 megawatts on the grid. And I can go on and on. Privatization has not brought the needed emancipation. Of course, this is what I'm saying. And I've said the problems are 1891, 1892, 1952, 1962, 2006, 2004. Even the privatization was done wrongly. Why would you give a network as wide as that to a company that borrowed money to buy, and then they don't have enough money to improve the network? It is in the lecture. It is there. It is in the World Bank report of 1952. It is there. So I'm going to trace all of this and bring it to the fore so that all of us can see. How do we see civil engineering? Of course, engineering is a chain. Can we build a power station without civil engineers? It's impossible. Can we build a transmission lines without civil engineers? It's impossible. Can we build even a 33 kV line without civil engineers? It is impossible. So engineering is a chain. The roads that we are building, is it not civil engineering? Can we construct railway lines without civil engineers? It's impossible. Can we build houses without civil engineers? It's impossible. So it's a chain. And I'm sure, I'm happy that the incoming president of Nigerian Society of Engineers spoken about mentoring, about getting engineering to be the thing, I mean, the at the center of socio-economic development. It is not law that should be at the center of socio-economic development like we see in Nigeria today. It is not law, it is engineering. And you can say that IT is part of engineering, but it is engineering that has to be the center point for the emancipation, for the greatness of Nigeria, to make Nigeria a great nation, to make Nigeria a safe nation, to make Nigeria an industrialized nation. You talked about ocean surge. Ocean surge is a big problem, but I am sure that once we have developed the deep sea port, we are begging that we'll be given the green light to begin to construct the deep sea port in Ondo State, which should, you know, that port was earmarked by the Oyinbos in the pre-independence, and I'm shocked that we're still begging today. All of you who know the Minister of Transport, who know those who are in charge, please persuade them, beg them to give Ondo State the right to build its own deep sea port. We must crack that nut, and once we are beginning to develop the economy of Ondo State, we'll have enough money to do all of that. It's a pity that the government of Dr. Olusegun Agagu was truncated. He's PDP. I've never been PDP, but he had a development program which include all of this. And some of the money that was released, even during that time through NDDC, I don't know what happened to ameliorate the surge of the sea. But these are issues that the experts have written about them. They have studies about them. And I'm sure that the government of Ondo State is looking into it. The federal government has funds for ecological this thing, and they're also looking at it. And I hope that they will be encouraged to tackle it headlong. But it's not rocket science at all. Thank you very much. I want to appreciate all of those who have spoken about me. I didn't know that all of these big giants would be on this platform. I would have run away. I said to Ben when he invited me, I said, I'm going to stop talking. I think it's because my mouth is too loud and I speak too much. That's why I get sacrificed to come and give speeches here and there. But what I'm going to do is that from next year, anybody who wants to come and invite me to do any talk will have to pay. And I will charge $250,000 per hour. So I hope if you don't have that kind of money, please don't invite me to come and I have about 6 speeches between now and November 27. And it's really, a lot of pressure. My speech on engineer Olonfemi has done that on the 8th of November is 103 pages. So you can imagine. And I will challenge anybody to give me a PhD or to hold me for plagiarism after that. Thank you very much, Ben. Thank you, all of you, for listening, for encouraging me.
You'll get a professorship after that.
I've read so many charts, and I'm encouraged. And I say to people that all of these things, even Jesus Christ, when oil was poured on his leg, he appreciated it. Sometimes when you are doing good, like the presidents, like the likes of, a lot of people, we need people to appreciate and encourage them. The problems of this nation as we are today is enormous. But I'm sure that we are going to build a great and mighty nation that no country will be able to will be better than this nation. I am an apologetic believer in the fact that Nigeria is going to be a great nation very soon by the grace of Almighty God. And those of us who are at this age will bequeath to our children a nation like no other before. Thank you very much, and God bless you.
Thank you. Thank you. I hope I'm going to be exempted from those that will be paying $50,000 to invite you. And we are going, thank you very much. We have come to the end of the corner kick segment, and we are now coming to one of the hallmark of this event, and that is what we call the extra time. We are going to ask a question that came from this interview. That question is personal to Engineer Oyedele, and he is going to be the one to confirm the accuracy of that question, the answer. The first person to post the correct answer automatically wins the beautiful gadget I have in my hand. And the question goes this way. I think I have to exempt the family members of
I was going to say that.
I'm going to exempt them from asking this question, from answering the question. Because of this program, Engineer Oyedele talked much about his father, and he mentioned the date his father died. The first person to give us the correct answer, the day, the year, and the month that Engineer Oyedele lost his father, gets the beautiful gift we have here today. The chat is on.
Okay, we have an answer.
We have an answer.
And the winner is Kunle Adebayo.
Kunle Adebayo, 4th November 1994. That's the first to come in. I think that is the winner. Kunle Adebayo, please can we see your face?
Yes,
oh. That is my boss. Kunle Adebayo is the former...
You cannot take this one.
I hope you don't have any member of my family sitting with you there.
No, you mentioned it.
I can be sure. I'm sure that you don't.
No, you mentioned it.
There were so many correct answers. Engineer Woodil was correct, 1994. Emeka was correct, but Kunle's answer came first. Sorry, Ben, please allow me to recognize my wife is on this forum. I hope she will put on her video. My daughter, Dr. Olubukola Oyedele, is on this video. I hope you put on your video so that I can see your face. My daughter, Motolani Oyedele, is on this video. My son, Olakunle Oyedele, is on this video. I want to thank all of you for coming. Of course, Dr. Kunle Hamilton is also my mentor in one area of my life. I want to thank all of you, family, for coming, for being part of this. You have been an inspiration to Daddy. I am very, very proud of all of you. I'm very, very proud. And that's why I give testimony of who you are all of the time. Thank you very much. I love you. God bless you. I haven't seen Sarah too. Sarah, I haven't seen you on your video, please. And Motolani, you have to put on your video so that I will see you, please. Motolani Olakunle, please.
Okay, waiting for her.
Thank you very much, Ben.
For her to show herself, let me congratulate Engineer Kunle Adebayo, past president of the association. No, this is Nigeria Institution of Structural Engineers. I hope I'm right. past president. I think he was present in the last, in the previous edition, and today he has emerged the winner of this beautiful laptop. My Oga, please, tomorrow you can send somebody to pick it up from me, and we congratulate you. And to all our participants,
I just say
all the participants
drink.ng.
say a very big thank you to all of you for participating in today's event, and we want to sincerely thank our special guest.
Let me check 6.
Engineer
6 pack.
Ifeoluwa Oyedele. Thank you, sir. It's been a wonderful time with you. And we have come to the end of this occasion. And my name is Engineer Ben O.C. Oko, signing out.
Yeah.
We can see outside the arena. Thank you.
This is not the